James, don't you think you heard the worst news for your father? Olivia glanced at her husband as she fixed her hair in the mirror. For a month now, the girl who was supposed to be caring for Olivia's husband's father had been living in their house, and she was disliking her more and more every day. Of course, Jennifer was fulfilling her duties, except that life in the house had changed strangely. Olivia wasn't happy with that. She had married James 5 years ago. The happy, young, cheerful girl looked at her fiancé with loving eyes. He seemed like the man who could change her life. In 5 years, they had never had a fight, not once. Olivia's husband made good money. She didn't complain, but she liked romance and children. For 5 years, she had never gotten pregnant, which tormented and worried Olivia. One day, James found a letter in the mailbox. The addressee was unfamiliar to him. The letter came from a social shelter. Your father is staying with us. He's in trouble. If you can, please visit him. The letter said. The excited man came home, showed the letter to Olivia. Your father never took care of you, she said, knowing that his mother had raised James alone. Why should you care about him now? He's not a stranger to me, he said. I can leave him in the lurch, Olivia. We need to think about ourselves, about our lives, about our future children, not about a man who's, in fact, a stranger to you. James' wife was adamant that she didn't want her husband to help her father. Olivia, we have a big house. I make good money. Why don't we take care of a sick man? James tried to reason with his wife. On Sunday afternoon, James and Olivia went to social shelter to find out what had happened to his father. He was sitting in the public garden near the entrance in a wheelchair, reading something. Dad? James stared into the face of a man he didn't see in years. Is that you? The old man looked up at his son and put the book aside. He had been waiting for this meeting for a long time, but he couldn't make the first step himself. Couldn't call and ask his son to come. Andrew felt guilty that he had once abandoned James' mother. The boy was only 5 years old when Andrew fell in love with the beautiful Monica. After learning about her husband Eva, his wife could not forgive him, said, Go away, I still will not treat you as before. And he left. Only a month later, regretted his action. Monica was greedy for money. She always demanded that Andrew brought her expensive jewelry, took her to restaurants. The girl did not cook food at all the time devoted only to herself, not paying attention to Andrew. And when one day Andrew reproached her with selfishness, the girl just kicked him and quickly found a replacement. Except that James's mother didn't let her ex-husband back into her life, who betrayed once, will betray again and again. What happened to you, father? Why are you here? James asked Andrew, sitting down next to him on a bench. My life went downhill, the man said softly, looking into his son's eyes. And recently I was beaten up by hooligans on the street. Why? They saw me collecting expired food in a dumpster behind the supermarket. They had nothing to do with them. They just decided to mock me. Luckily, the sales clerk looked out the noise, so they took me to hospital. But my legs won't move anymore. I will take you in, father, James promised. Andrew looked at him gratefully, not noticing that his wife was not happy about his husband's decision. A few days later, James brought his father back to his house. He asked Olivia to prepare a room for the old man on the first floor. Andrew was in a wheelchair and looking around the house with interest. You've done well, son. It's a nice house, he said. I've been coming to this for years. I work hard to live in comfort. He and Olivia had had a difficult conversation the day before. James had convinced his wife that she should quit her job and look after his father. That's the last thing we need, Olivia protested. Who was he to me? A stranger. I wouldn't look after him. Yes, you are, because he's my dad. I'm not going to let an old man suffer and him not have a long time to live. Olivia stopped arguing with her husband. She realized that she wasn't ready to take care of the old man all day long, cooking his meals and giving him medicine. We could hire a nurse. Suddenly, Olivia found a way out of the situation. Then I could work and your father will be taken care of. A nurse? That's not a bad idea, James agreed. You shall do that. But in the meantime, take some time off work and keep an eye on your father. Try to be nice and polite to him. Olivia sighed heavily. Don't let her husband think that she'd be looking for a caregiver and take the first one she could find, just so she wouldn't have to deal with James' father. In her spare moment, the woman turned on her computer and found the website of the agency that offered caregivers. Here was the first candidate. Olivia saw a picture of a girl with a kind smile. That's who we will hire. In the morning, Olivia prepared breakfast for her husband. Andrew entered the kitchen in a wheelchair, said hello to her daughter-in-law. Can I have a coffee? The old man asked. Please, Olivia said, placing a coffee can and a cup on the table in front of him. Make it yourself. I'm not going to serve you. The man went to the stove to get the kettle, but he couldn't reach it. Olivia, it's hard for you to make your father coffee? James asked indignantly, seeing how awkward Andrew was feeling. I was going to, but I will just finish frying the eggs and then I will do it. Olivia was confused, afraid that her husband would get angry. James poured coffee into a cup and served it to his father. How did you sleep at our house, Daddy? The man asked. I couldn't sleep all night, he complained. I'm not used to sleeping alone. I used to. Olivia thought James' father was going to start talking about the woman he'd been involved with. She didn't want to hear it. So she hurried to interrupt him. James, I found a nurse for your father, she said to her husband. She even has a medical degree. She's coming over today. How old is the nurse? James asked. Young, but that's even better. She will probably take good care of Andrew. I like young girls, the old man said happily. Olivia looked at him in surprise. Why will he be so happy? James just shook his head. It will be nice. As he left the house, he ran into a young brunette. The girl asked him, Are you the ones who need a nurse? James stopped, looking at the girl carefully. I'm Monica. The agency sent me. My wife is in charge of this case, James said, looking at the nurse. You go in the house. The girl walked toward the front door, wiggling her hips. The short skirt barely concealed her charms, and the deep neckline of her blouse gave access to her lush, firm breasts. Beautiful, the man thought. Monica didn't like Olivia. Young with bright makeup on her face and a provocative manicure, the girl behaved swaggeringly, insolent, and even rude to the lady of the house. But Olivia didn't want to take care of her husband's father on her own, so she decided to let Monica do it, and she would rather go to her job. Andrew needs to take his medication on time, and he needs a massage, she said to young nurse. Can you do that? Oh, I can't do anything. You will be pleased. And Andrew will be even more pleased, believe me. Slapping her long eyelashes, Monica chirped affectionately. I have so many talents. Olivia looked at the girl incredulously, but Andrew smiled happily. He clearly liked the nurse. A week later, Olivia was coming home from work in a bad mood. She was getting more and more annoyed with Monica and didn't want to be in her own home. The insolent nurse was meddling in everything, running the kitchen and walking around the house in a short skirt. Olivia could see that James sometimes stopped to stare at her long legs. "Could you dress more modestly?" Olivia asked her. "You look like a girl of easy virtue." "What's wrong with that?" Monica wondered. "I have beautiful legs, so why will I hide it? Isn't that right, Andrew?" The girl looked at the old man sitting in the wheelchair. "Of course," he nodded. Then Olivia decided to find her friend a caregiver, one who wouldn't annoy her and wouldn't look like a streetwalker. But her husband suddenly stood up for Monica. "You're being unfair, dear," the man said. "Monica is doing a fine job. In addition, the father is noticeably cheerful, looks great. He likes the way his young nurse is taking care of him. I don't know how she looks after him or what she does to him, but there are strange noises and giggles coming from your father's room. What's wrong with Daddy being cheerful and upbeat? I don't want him to be depressed, lying in bed all day moaning in pain. Monica makes his life brighter, more fun, more varied." Olivia only lightened his lips when she heard her husband defending Monica. She couldn't understand what was so good about her that even her husband drew looking at the young girl. Olivia saw that James was coming home earlier, liked the walk in the garden with his father and his nurse, and often took Monica's hands. Jealousy sneaked its way into her heart. She's no longer young and cannot get pregnant to make her husband happy, and this guy may well take her place. If Monica just waved her finger, any man will have an affair with her. A month passed. Olivia realized that Monica had become very close to Andrew. James was spending more and more time with his father and his nurse. It pissed Monica off. What was so good about that young girl that she didn't have? What does she do to please the old man so much that he is glowing with happiness? The woman decided to follow the couple to be sure to know what they are doing in the room of James's father and why there are always strange sounds, laughter, and giggling. As Monica and Andrew were walking in the garden, Olivia entered the old man's room. On the nightstand lay a book. It was a detective. Andrew passionately read in his spare time. On the table lay Monica's laptop. Olivia opened it, deciding to check why the caregiver wouldn't part with her computer. But she couldn't turn it on because she didn't know the password. Hearing footsteps, the woman looked around fearfully. She didn't want James' father to see her in the room. He'd think Olivia was spying on her father-in-law. She quickly hid in a closet, leaving the door slightly ajar. "Well, Andrew, we have had a lovely walk, so let's get down to business," Monica whispered affectionately. "Every time we do this, I feel as young as I did years ago." The old man replied cheerfully, "You're not old at all, and we'll give a head start to any young brat," the girl assured him. Sitting in the closet, Olivia thought that they had become lovers. That's what it was all about. Monica shamelessly pleased the old man in bed. That's why he looked so happy. The woman fumbled for her cell phone in her pocket, decided it would be a good idea to take a picture of Andre and Monica making love. Quietly peeking at the couple through the slit, she was already anticipating how she would jump out of the closet and expose the couple, then tell her husband, Then James will fire that insolent girl for sure, Olivia thought. But to her surprise, Monica rolled the wheelchair to the table, not to the bed. The girl opened her laptop and sat down next to Andrew. She typed something quickly into the search engine. Look, 3 more women, she said to the old man. Make it bigger, please, he asked. I want to get a better look at their faces. You'd better read what they write to you, Monica told him. Oh, what a kind words. Look, Monica, this woman had her own house and she invites me to visit, Andrew exclaimed. Do you think we could go? I don't doubt it. Write to her and tell her that you will love to see her, suggested the young nurse. Andrew typed something slowly, poking at the letters on the keyboard with one finger. Olivia's nose itched violently, and she sneezed loudly. Monica turned around, slowly walked over to the closet, and opened the door. What are you doing here? She asked when she saw the lady of the house. Are you spying on us? Olivia was terribly embarrassed. The woman climbed out of the closet and quickly left the room so as not to make eye contact with Andrew and Monica. As she closed the door, she heard loud laughter. The old man was laughing and Olivia's cheeks were burning fire with shame. That evening, when everyone gathered for dinner, Olivia didn't leave her eyes from her plate. Andrew and Monica looked at each other slyly, smiling enigmatically. Finally, James' father decided to speak. What you did today, Olivia, prompted me to tell you what Monica and I have been doing for the past month, the old man said. I don't know what you mean, Dad. James was surprised at his father's words. What behavior of Olivia are you talking about? She knows what I'm talking about. Andrew smiled, looking at his daughter-in-law's face, red as tomato. The thing is, Monica understands me more than either of you do. She has become a very close person to me. Father, are you saying that you and Monica are lovers? James struggled to utter those words. No, son, Father exclaimed. I will never allow myself anything unnecessary with my dear nurse. She takes such good care of me. But when I told her that I was very fond of women's attention, and that I had never had any woman before, Monica found a great way for me to have fun. They made my life better, brighter, more fun. James looked at his father and his nurse in bewilderment. Maybe you can explain to me, Monica, what is going on? He asked the girl. Nothing much, Monica replied simply and easily. I showed Andrew a dating site on the internet. Now he's not deprived of the attention of women, and they're happy to call him to visit, chat, share their thoughts. That's what your father needed. What does this have to do with Olivia and what she did? James still didn't understand. I'm embarrassed, Olivia said quietly. I thought Monica was pleasuring your father in bed. That's why he looked so happy. Monica and Andrew laughed merrily, seeing how awkward Olivia felt. Did you really think that? James asked his wife in surprise. Yes, I suspected you too. I thought that girl would soon get you into bed, the wife confessed guiltily. Andrew rolled his wheelchair to the window and looked out into the yard. Tomorrow, he and Monica will go to Sarah's house. This woman, despite the fact that Andrew is disabled, invited him to live with her. Enough of visiting his son and seeing his daughter-in-law disgruntled face every day. The old man realized that his and Monica's presence in the house annoyed Olivia, but now his life will change, because there is a woman who is ready to accept him as he is.